Hey everyone, welcome back to our Fastcast or Speedcast or whatever name the AI feels like naming it today. If you have an idea of what you want to name it, leave us a comment below. But I'm joined by some of our panelists today, some of your favorite hosts, Gaming for Insight, CPPC Tech, and our new panelist, Hanstern. We are talking about the Legion Go S's new launch or release. This time it's got the Z2 Go chip, name pun intended, as well as the Z1 Extreme, which we're familiar with in our RG Ally, RG Ally X, and Legion Go. So I have some questions for our panelists here. The first one here is, how do you think that this changes the handheld PC landscape, if at all? Don't everyone answer at once.
Well, I think with the Legion Go S being introduced as one of its variants with SteamOS, I think that really changes the dynamic of the handheld scene, because originally you want to experience SteamOS, then you go with the Steam Deck. Now earlier this year, we did get an earlier build of SteamOS. We were seeing that across YouTube, people installing that, but it wasn't fully compatible with all the devices in the dream that we would want it to. So the fact that there is another option for SteamOS with a more powerful APU, in this case, we can get the Z1 Extreme, if not the Z2 Go. And then you also have more memory, 32 gigabyte memory capacity as well, instead of 16. This is significant here.
Yeah, well put, Joe. CPPC, Hanstern?
Yeah, so I'm really glad that we're starting to see handhelds come equipped with the SteamOS, because so many people immediately out of the box for so many different devices immediately are trying to convert SteamOS on there, whether it be through Bazite or whatever. It's just it's something that people want and need, because Windows at the current time is just not fully optimized for handhelds, and so a lot of stuff is wasted. A lot of resources are just wasted. So some of these games you'll be able to actually get even better performance, and it'll allow them to get better battery life, and it's better for everyone. So the fact that they're offering this lets me know that they're listening to gamers. It's truly a company who is like, oh, you know what? Everybody's asking for SteamOS. Well, how about we give them that? And that's nice to see, because some companies are just a little tone deaf. It seems like sometimes, but if they're doing that, it's really cool. There's a lot in the Legion Go S that I like to see, and that lets me know that they are listening. The trigger locks for first person shooters and stuff. There's so many new features that we don't see on other handhelds, and they're bringing it to the table. And I really am excited to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well put. What do you think, Hanstern?
Yeah, so from what I can see, this really only serves one type of person. This is going to be a bit of a hot take.
We love those.
Be the person that wants SteamOS, whether it's maybe somebody that's had a Steam Deck, doesn't have anything, but, oh, my buddy's got a Steam Deck, whatever, and they want more performance, but they either can't or don't want to go through the process of removing Windows and adding, some sort of Linux distro, whether that's Bazite or whatever. Because at these price points, the older, and they both have older hardware, so you can get a used, ROG Ally, whatever, for a lot less than buying one of these brand new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's well put. But for someone who is interested, I would like to ask you all, if they're interested in the Legion Go product in particular, like they're maybe a Lenovo enthusiast, do you recommend that they buy the OG Legion Go? Do you recommend that they buy one of these variants of Legion Go S? What's your personal recommendation?
It's a really good question, and I actually would say to wait, because, and I've been talking about this too on our earlier podcast, how we had the understanding around April that SteamOS was going to release and compatible for multiple handhelds. So if that is the case, and we can take Steam OS, we can have our license, and then we can throw it on the ROG Ally, the Lenovo Legion Go, and we don't have to pay around $800 for a Legion Go S, then it would be cost efficient to just wait and then pick up an open box ROG Ally and then throw our license of Steam OS that we get. And I'm not really understanding if we would have to pay for that or not. But my thought process is that would cost less than to actually go and buy a Lenovo Legion Go S right now. Because again, we're seeing the Z1 Extreme, the Z1 Extreme, excuse me, on a handheld on the Legion Go S, and it's costing around $800. So when you have that option on the ROG Ally, that same APU can get that open box and then throw Steam OS on there. That's why not wait a little longer? That's at least where my mind is right now, and that's why I didn't go ahead and just pre-order one of the. Even though the Nebula Legion Go S just looks absolutely awesome, I really want to get my hands on that. But I'm waiting just because I want to see what's really going to happen here if Steam OS is going to roll out and it's going to be compatible across multiple handhelds.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you think, CBPC? I know you, like me, have had lots of people asking about, why don't you just throw Windows on this, or why don't you just throw Steam OS on this? And in that context of just buying something used, whether that's a Legion Go or an ROG Ally or even an Ally X, I mean, how does this change your recommendations, if at all?
So it changes it a little bit for a few reasons. One is there's a lot of people who just want a bigger screen, and so the Ally isn't a perfect resolution for them. And then there's also a lot of people who play first-person shooters, and they're very intrigued by the trigger locks and a few other features. So I'm really easily able to tell people and sell people on this handheld. But if it was me personally, I would probably want to buy, an last gen device at a decent price, maybe an open box or something. But with this particular handheld, if you buy it, I would like to have the option to save money, of course. And if the Steam OS is cheaper and I can save money and install my own version of Windows later, that would be more appealing to me. I've said it from day one. I think that a lot of these companies are missing the mark. I think they could save money themselves and save the customer's money by offering an option to check where there is no OS at all installed, or Steam OS, or something that's free for them, open source, where they don't have to spend money on those Windows license keys. But I do understand that they might be less inclined to do that because bundled software is where they make a lot of their money. So Norton, McAfee, and whoever else wants to jump in, they're going to bundle that, and they're going to get paid a commission per install. And then probably, I've always wondered this, if people do sign up for those after the trials have ended with McAfee, do they get a cut out of that? So it would be more of a push for them to include stuff like that, basically. So it'd be interesting to see if they could pull something like that off across the board with other handhelds and devices moving forward to give us that option of Steam OS versus Windows, because I kind of have a feeling more people would opt for the Steam OS version if it was even $50 cheaper. I really think that people would save that money and either run Steam OS or they have their own Windows key, because you guys know, I guess, if you know, you know. So yeah, I don't know.
You bring up a great point, and that is actually exactly that the pricing scheme that exists, at least right now, with the Best Buy pre-order coming in and out. It seems like the Windows version of the Z1 Extreme with 32 gigs of RAM is coming in at $899, and as a comparative price point, that is the current price of the Ally X as well. Remember, the primary difference between those two there, I guess, would be the screen size, the trigger locks, as CPPC mentioned, the battery size, obviously, and the Ally X, and then the 8 gigs of RAM. That's typically not going to make a huge difference for gaming right now, but it doesn't mean it won't make a difference, 6 months to a year from now, right? So $899 for the Windows variant, but then it's actually $829.99, so a difference of $60 for the Steam OS version.
That's enough to convince me easily.
Yeah. So if you could actually get, pre-order or purchase the Steam OS version, to CPPC's point, you could absolutely throw on a Windows a Windows install on there and not have Steam OS, and you could even dual boot it, of course, too. So yeah, that might be a worthwhile recommendation or interest to someone, to CPPC's point, if the 7-inch display or what have you is most intriguing to you. So I do also have perhaps one more question for all of you, and that is for the people who are waiting for the Legion Go 2. And we know that there are a lot of them, probably everyone in this panel included, except for Handstern. He's kind of a rebellious one. Why did we invite him out here? So like, what are your recommendations for those people who say, maybe I already have a Legion Go, maybe I already have an Ally, other than obviously just, buy them all. Like, what's your recommendation for Legion Go 2?
For me, I would say it comes down to your kind of, I don't know. Here's the easiest way to put it. If you already have a Z1 Extreme device, wait. It would be silly to buy another Z1 Extreme device, even though it has extra features, even though it has a better battery life, even though it has more RAM. You're side grading, essentially. You're not actually making a substantial enough upgrade, in my opinion, to justify it, unless it was, double, the performance, or it was a lot better performance than what you were getting. Maybe not double, but if it was better performance than what you were getting, that would be a justifiable cause. I personally know, for me, if I already had a Z1E device, I would probably want to stick on that device as long as I could and save up. That way I can buy the next spiciest device, which is going to be the Legion Go 2. And that is, trust me, going to be worth the wait.
Yep. Well said. That's what I'm doing. My Legion Go is just going to become a thick boy tablet after the Go 2 comes up. But what about you? What about you, Joe?
So I'll go back to my previous point on how I agree. I'm in alignment with CPPC Tech that it's really best to wait, and especially to your point, CPPC Tech, if you have multiple devices or one device with the Z1E, and even with especially with the Ally X, with the memory configuration. If you're sitting at 16, okay, maybe I could see waiting for a discount on another device that has a higher memory configuration, but that's why I'm waiting. Is I just want to understand what SteamOS is going to do as far as when it's going to release.
Yeah, well said. All right, Handstern, you got any thoughts about this, or?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat as everybody else. Like, if you're gonna wait, like if you've already got something, wait. I would say if you're gonna buy now and you just absolutely can't wait and you don't have anything and you want Legion, go with the OG Legion Go. I would probably skip both of these Go S's and just wait for the Go 2, and hopefully we get some better quality of life improvements, like a larger battery or maybe a little bit better ergonomics. For the most part, it's been good, but just getting that better processor, there's no point in paying brand new price for hardware that's a generation or even 2+ generations old, and it would just be nonsensical to do that.
Yep. Well put. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us for another one of our quick podcasts. Be sure to leave a comment and hit the like and subscribe buttons. And until next time, it's go time. All right.
Take care, all.